dealing with the cards you've been dealt and really maximizing, like I said, maximizing your own potential. Okay. Lovely bloody jubbly. How's it going, everyone, and welcome to today's video. Now, I'm here today to give you my 5 reasons why I chose not to get a hair transplant. So recently, I've had a lot of comments here on my YouTube channel, Bald Cafe, guys saying, you're so stupid not to get a hair transplant. Why didn't you just get a hair transplant? You should get a hair transplant. And I responded, calmly. But I thought, hey, great idea for a little video. So here are my 5 reasons why I chose not to get that hair transplant. Now, reason number 1 is going to be the cost. We've seen before all over the internet and on my videos, the cost of a hair transplant ranges, anything from £2,000 up to £30,000. Now, let's take a nice little average number, I guess, £4,000 if I was going to pay that much, right? £4,000. But here I really feel like the saying, you get what you pay for, or buy nice or buy twice, really applies here to something like a hair transplant. If you go cheap, you run the risk of it looking awful. If you go expensive, you run the risk of wasting a lot of money. You see, with £4,000, you can do so much. You can take that £4,000 and invest it in yourself. You see, maybe you're into something, you want to get started in something new, maybe photography, maybe cinematography, maybe coding, right? Nowadays, you can head over to somewhere like Udemy, and for £4,000 on Udemy, you could have an absolute field day. You could pretty much study anything in depth, everything in depth. Really invest that money in yourself and give yourself some valuable skills that are going to last forever. We've seen it said time and time again, looks, they fade, right? Fine, your hair transplant looks good for 4-5 years, then you're going to need another one. Maybe this time you think £4,000 isn't enough. You're going to have to step up that cost again. So for me, cost was a big factor here. I'm going to be going back to the UK soon, and I want to turn Bald Cafe into a business. So I'm going to need to invest money into Bald Cafe. I want to come out with a lot of awesome products that I want to use and I think you guys are going to love as well. I'm not just talking about anything. We've got the bald head butter, a beard oil, a shaving cream, maybe even some nice Bald Cafe shaving accessories. You see, these things are actually useful, things that people can use. But in order to produce those products, I'm going to need an initial investment. And something like £2,000 is going to be enough to start that new business venture. Another thing I want to do, might surprise you, is get into poultry farming. Yes, that's right. Sustainable agriculture. And I can take the other £2,000 from that and start my poultry farming business. So for that money, for a hair transplant, I could start a business, I can invest it in myself, and I can have real longevity, things that really tangible mean something, just with the sacrifice of not getting that hair transplant and keeping the bald head. Reason number 2 that I'm not getting a hair transplant is that it's not a permanent fix. You see, I mistakenly thought that a hair transplant was a one-off thing, right? You pay your money, you get it transplanted from the back into the front or at the crown, you're done. Your hair grows back after a 6-month sort of recovery process, 6 months to a year, and that's it. But no. You see guys who often go for one hair transplant and I'm getting a second and a third. And even when you're 65 years old, okay, let's say 60s, it's going to have gone again. It's going to be left with a strange look, and a lot of guys end up at that stage just shaving your head off anyway.
And you think it's going to fix. I had hair transplants. I had my first one, I think, when I was like 26. I had 3 of them. I should have never done anything. I should have shaved my head from the beginning. And so whenever kids ask me online, like dudes ask me, I'm fucking freaking out, I'm only 18 and losing my hair. Shave it, bitch. Just deal with that. Just accept the fact you don't have any hair.
So I thought, why not just cut to the chase, go for the no-nonsense approach, just get it done now, get it done early, and now I'm set for life. After the first hair transplant, really, it just buys you more time with your hair, right? It just gives you more time, like I said, 6 months to a year of recovery, and then it can give you, 5 or 6 years, not even in some cases, with this new hair, before I'm going to start worrying about when it's going to start to fall out again, and I need to go for that second procedure. So for me, it doesn't take away that worry It doesn't take away that fear of the hair falling out again when you get the hair transplant. It just buys you a bit more time. Now, reason number 3 is the scarring. And I know this is a pretty small reason, but hey, if I'm going to end up with a bald head eventually anyway, then it seems strange to me that I would put these scars into my head that I know at some point I'm going to have to show off. I may as well go with the best bald head that I can, scarless if possible. You know, everyone has scars, lumps, bumps. I've got a nice big bump here on the side of my head. I did have a bit of a mole going on somewhere, but nothing too crazy. But if I start adding a load of scars to that, you see the scars from the individual follicles, they kind of look a little bit like acne scars. Or if you go for that strip cutout, of course, you're going to get a line one ear to the next. So I want to avoid the scarring. So that's another reason why I chose not to get a hair transplant. Now, reason number 4 is the hassle of it all, okay? You know, say you got to get on a plane, go over to Turkey, get your £2,000 hair transplant. You know, then I've got to wear bandages on my head for the next sort of 2 weeks or so. After that, you've got that weird sort of scarring all over it. Not scarring, scabbing all over it. Then you're left with that sort of real baby-looking hair for, what, 3 or 6 months. You know, and I've heard that it takes almost up to a year to actually get that hair growing back normal. And often you have to combine the hair transplant with other treatments like minoxidil and Propecia as well. So not only do you have to go through this sort of operation process, the healing through that, you then have to obviously subscribe to taking Propecia or minoxidil to keep that hair strong and keep that new hair transplant, you know, as healthy, I guess, and as strong and as long lasting as you can. So you've got this big concoction of these hair loss treatments, which of course all cost money, and I just can't be bothered with that. Plain and simple, I think it's way too much hassle for the sort of benefit of having hair. I just can't be arsed with the hassle. Now, reason number 5, and this is a bit of a deep one, right? A bit of a deep one, but I don't believe in shortcuts, right? I don't believe in shortcuts. I don't believe in quick fixes. And I believe that, you know, you get out what you put in. Since you can't work harder to sort of get that hair back, I think you just have to accept that. You know, I see a hair transplant, which is of course cosmetic surgery, as a bit of a shortcut almost. And I think that anything like that is always going to have negative side effects. Maybe looking into this a little bit too much, but that's just my own personal reason. I think that if you start to try and combat that with drugs and procedures like a hair transplant, there's going to be negative side effects. It's going to catch up with you in the end. I think that you just got to make the best of what you've got and find ways to exploit your own personal strengths. You see, we've all got our own personal strengths, things that we're good at. You've got to find ways to double down on those things and really excel at them rather than worry about something that you don't have. Obtaining things that we shouldn't have through buying them, stealing them, operations, drugs. I really think at some point it's going to find a way to sort of come back, bite you in the arse. I just think there's something really wholesome and peaceful in accepting who you are, dealing with the cards you've been dealt, and really maximizing, like I said, maximizing your own potential. And so, you know, really my advice would be, you know, don't wish for things you don't have. Do honest work, work hard, work honestly for things that you know that you definitely can obtain. I think that's the only real true way to happiness, fulfillment, and that's the only really thing with real longevity in it all. There's always going to be someone out there who's got more money than you, looks more handsome than you, who's taller, right? Got a nicer car, faster car, a better looking wife, whatever it is, right? There's always going to be someone like that. All you've got to do is worry about yourself and, like I said, maximize your own potential. At the end of the day, in my opinion, something like hair, if it's gone, if it's going, it's just not worth worrying about. You've just got to slowly find your ways, find your own way to let it go. Look at yourself, you know, have a reevaluation of what you're good at, something that, you know, really means a lot to you, something that you can work hard at, progress in. You know, those are the things that really matter. Those are the things that are going to take you much, much further. A good example, someone like my frame, right? I'm never going to be the world's strongest man, let's say, right? That's just not going to happen. So there's no point in me then, you know, taking loads of roids, eating 20,000 calories a day and trying to do that, because I just don't have the potential to do that. And if you're going bald, you know, I'm sorry, but you don't have the potential for luscious locks of hair. But you do have the potential for plenty of other awesome things. Do have the potential for plenty of other awesome things. So those are my 5 reasons why I chose not to get hair transplant. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more like this, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what you want to see more of down in the comment section below. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Get in the comment section for guys who have had hair transplants. I want to hear from you. I want to know the reasons why you chose to get one. Very interested to hear that. And if you, like me, chose not to get one, hey, let me know why you made that decision. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.